Hi guys, welcome back. So I am super excited for today's video because we are combining two of my favorite things. Well, two of some of my favorite things, which are books, obviously, it's a booktube channel, and the other is the classic, the beloved, the ever so comforting Great British Bake Off. Now, I'm actually surprised I haven't done this video before, if I'm being honest, because I have been watching the Great British Bake Off for years. I want to say since it came out, if not the year after, but it has quickly become one of my top most comforting, enjoyable shows and mouthwatering shows to watch. And if you're familiar, I'm sure you can completely 1000% agree. Now, for those of you who may have been living under a rock, or maybe don't have PBS, or have stumbled across it on Netflix, the Great British Baking Show, or excuse me, the Great British Bake Off is a baking competition set in the UK. It's exactly what it sounds like. It basically pits together a handful of contestants. Every week they bake something, it is judged, they get sent home, there's a winner at the end. However, the thing that really sets it apart from every other baking or culinary competition is the cozy vibes. It is just so wholesome, and a lot of that really has to do, honestly, I've got to say, with the English mentality, because unlike the American shows that are very cutthroat, you see people running through the kitchen, which, by the way, super unsafe, and, you know, trying to take each other down a peg, or the host really coming down and being condescending to the contestants. Everything on the Great British Bake Off is upbeat and encouraging and comforting and just oh so delectable. Even the way that it is filmed and the set that it is on, it is whimsical, it is colorful, such a soft color palette, and it's really just, again, I can't emphasize enough, such a cozy and comforting show. And because of that, I thought that it would be fun to basically give you guys some book recommendations if you are a fan of that show and you are looking for those same kind of vibes, but in book format. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into my handful of recommendations. Now, I will say this list, despite maybe some roundups that I have done in the past or the ones that I typically do, these are not going to all be cozy mystery. I've got a handful of genres in here because I think that the essence of this bake off really transcends genres, and I wanted my recommendations to reflect that. So let's actually start off with a cozy fantasy series, which is called The Fellowship of Bakers and Magic. Now, full disclosure, I haven't actually read this one yet, but going by the star rating, going by friends' recommendations, I already know that I am going to love it. So because this is fantasy, essentially what we have is a woman who is a mere mortal, who is a baker, and she ends up being entered into this baking competition, but she's not the one who enters. Her orc friend actually enters on her behalf because they think that her baking is so good that she can compete against all of these other magical creatures. And so we've got that cozy fantastical element, but then we've also got that baking competition backdrop, and I mean, what more could you want? It sounds like the essence of a cozy fantasy, and I'm totally here for it. Next up, we are actually going to switch gears over to a cozy mystery, and this one is actually right in the title of the series. It is called The Great Witch's Baking Show. It is a cozy series set against a baking backdrop with a paranormal element and a cozy mystery element, because obviously it's a cozy mystery, and so you've got that amateur detective solving crimes in the backdrop. But this, you'll be happy to know, is an actual series. So if you enjoy the first one, you've got a handful of other ones to continue on with. But what I love about this one is you've got a sort of you got a mix of things, right? So the main character, who's our amateur sleuth, she is American, even though I want to say her father or someone in her family is British, so she's got ties there. And so that leads her over to the UK to compete on a baking competition, but there are I don't want to say ulterior motives, but she's got other motives as well, which is the fact that where this baking competition is taking place, it's at this great mansion that may hold answers to questions that she has about her past. And so woven through that, like I said, you've got this paranormal element because it does involve witches. I won't give too much away, but like I said, this one super cozy, especially if you enjoy cozy mysteries and you want to have that kind of Great British Baking Show backdrop. Continuing with our cozy mystery recommendations, we've got A Great Day to Pie, which, yes, it's a cozy mystery, but it's actually book 2 in the Pies Before Guys cozy mystery series, which honestly, I feel like I've been talking about a lot on my channel recently, but that is because, again, guys, it's one of my favorites, one of my new favorites. There's only 2 books out, but the second book actually is set against a baking competition background. Now, granted, it takes place in America, but the overall sentiment is described as still being very similar to its original kind of Great British Bake Off counterpart, where the whole concept is that it's supposed to be kind of fun and lighthearted. You get your cast of characters. If you're not familiar with the Pies Before Guys series, I will say it's a little bit edgier of a cozy mystery. There is swearing in it. There is the idea of murder besides the cozy mystery murder that takes place, but at its core, it's still a cozy mystery. You're still getting that fun and whimsical element. I enjoyed this particular series because you get to know a lot of background of the cast of characters who are contestants. So beyond just following our amateur sleuth, which is also fun, you get to know a lot about each of the contestants. And there were multiple parts, I've got to say, where it made me really emotional, which was really unexpected because you weren't expecting that in this particular kind of grittier cozy mystery. But I teared up, guys. I'm not even gonna lie, in one of the parts because it's something that I can totally see happening on the Great British Bake Off show, which also made me tear up subsequently. And so highly recommend this one, even if you're not trying to do anything related to a cozy relating to the Great British Bake Off. It's just a really good book overall. Next, we've got The Golden Spoon. Now, this is a mystery. It's dubbed as a cozy, or it's slated under that cozy category on Amazon, but to be honest, I wouldn't necessarily count it as a cozy. If anything, it's more of a locked room or just like a general whodunit type mystery, which is still fine. That's still fun. Now, this one is set in the UK still. You've got your cast of British characters. Is it set in the UK? Now I don't know. I think it is. Yes. 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 But this one is a little bit different because while it is still set kind of at this grand mansion similar to the show, what you're seeing is that the mansion is actually owned by the woman who is the host of the show. So just imagine if like Mary Berry owned the house where they filmed. You know, it's been in her family for generations, and she is also the host. She's been the host from the start. Obviously, if you know the show, that's not the case. But still, this woman is dubbed as like the grandmother of baking, so to speak. And so this one is very interesting because you're also getting the perspective of the cast of characters, but that also includes the hosts. And the twist in this one of the kind of friction points is that the Mary Berry character, I don't remember her name, but you get it, the host of the show, at the inception of this book, the new season is starting, and it'll be the first year that she actually has a co-host. And this it's a guy, and he's kind of being described as a little bit of like a Gordon Ramsay, meaning that he's already got his own show, but on that show, he's really known for being a hard ass and cutthroat. And so she's really worried about him bringing that energy to this show that's supposed to be very comforting and uplifting. And it's interesting so far because you're getting the point of view from each of the characters, and I mean like first person point of view, so you're inside of their head. Obviously, you know, even though it's supposed to be this cozy backdrop, there's still this menacing tone as you kind of wait for the other shoe to drop, basically, because there seems to be some sabotage on set. But still, overall, very interesting, especially if you are looking for a book that's got that baking competition background. Last up, I will admit this one is a little bit on the nose, but sue me. I wanted to, add it to the list anyway because I thought it would be a really sweet end cap. And it's just the story of the Great British Bake Off. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically a book that talks all about the ins and outs of the show, from its inception, the fact that no one thought that it would become this global and cultural phenomenon that it is. You get a look at like the seedy underbelly of like dealing with trolls and social media, or a peek into the wins and the personal lives of folks who have gone on to do great and bigger things once they have graduated from the show. And honestly, it sounds like the perfect book if you are a fan of the show. And honestly, that's why I included it, because you can't get any cozier than looking behind the curtains of this cozy show. So that said, I hope that you guys enjoyed my little roundup. As I mentioned earlier, I'm really surprised that I've never done this before because I adore the show, I adore cozy books, and the two just seem so harmonious together. But I already rectified that by giving you all recommendations, and I ask that you do the same if you feel inclined. If you have any book suggestions that kind of center around or have the same tone or theme or coziness of the Great British Bake Off, feel free to drop them in the comments below because I am itching to add those to my TBR. But yeah, that'll do it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. In the meantime, I will talk to you all later. So happy reading, friends. Bye!